you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. I'm so excited you're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network. You're watching us on Broadway World, or you're on YouTube or on social media, wherever you are. I'm just grateful that you're here. I can't dance. I was a musical theater artist and I couldn't dance. I've made so many choreographers mad. Yes, that's my claim to fame in the dance world. Not knowing how to do, I could do a shuffle off to Buffalo. I got that down. But you know what I love? I love nothing more than For Pride. I love nothing more than stories told through dance. I love nothing more than a house phone in 2024, which is randomly ringing because I'm at my parents' house. I love everything that is about this next performer. We've seen him on television. You've seen him on Broadway. You've seen his work, and now you can see him at the beautiful Signature Theater. I'm so excited to welcome Jakob Karr. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Robert. Thank you so much for having me. And let me just say that if you feel like you have a firm handle on a shuffle off to Buffalo, you are a step ahead of me when it comes to tap dancing.
So, thank you, Jakob. You made me feel better.
Yeah, you're in a really good place.
You know, it's all the dance studio next to the pizzeria in the Paramus Town Center Mall in New Jersey.
Paramus.
That strong shuffle off to Buffalo. You're from Florida, and when did dance first enter your life?
Yeah, I'm from Orlando, and I grew up around all the theme parks, and so the visuals of dance were in my life from childhood. I grew up in a very sports-driven family: baseball, swimming, soccer, all of it. My dad was the coach of all the sports, and I wasn't passionate about any of them. I wasn't good at any of them because, to be honest, I didn't try. And my mom threw me into a dance class one day, and I remember she picked me up afterwards, and she said, "How was it?" And I remember saying, like, it was kind of easy. And she took that as, okay, we should maybe follow through with this and kind of see where this goes. And the person who I took from that day ended up being my teacher through the rest of my dance training as a kid, as a teenager, as a student.
Wow.
Yep.
And then at some point, did you decide, like, this is my life's work? Like, I'm going to make this it's different than just I'm in the recital and I'm hanging out with my friends. Like, you decided to make this your profession.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's funny to say, but it was seeing So You Think You Can Dance come on TV. That was probably my third year of dancing, and seeing people highlighted and celebrated that way. I don't really think any of us had seen that at that point. It was huge for dance. And that was my first clue that I could do this professionally, that I could have a career in this. And I want to say I was like 14 when the show came out. And that's kind of when my mind got set. This is what I was going to start to do.
Oh, wow. Okay. And dancing has literally brought you around the world.
Yeah.
Around the world. If you look at your resume, if you go to Jakob Karr's, go to your website and read about, like, literally around the world, including Broadway. So what was the goal? What is the goal? What was the goal of you as a young dancer? What was the original goal?
It's so funny because I have to think back to remember this question all the time, because whatever it was, it went like this the
Yeah.
second that I got here. I came to New York for college. I went to Fordham University. I went to the Ailey School. I needed structure, definitely. As an 18-year-old coming to the big city from Florida, I didn't know what I was doing. So I came to the college program really to have a jumping off point, and started out. My first audition ever was for the Broadway production of Mary Poppins. And I had met a casting agent at a national dance competition who just emailed me and said, "You should come to this." I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have a song, didn't have a book. I just kind of was bold and brave and walked in, and definitely didn't get the job. I didn't deserve it. But I didn't really have Broadway in my sights at that point. I really thought I was going to come here and dance for a contemporary ballet company, or I don't know, just train and train and train and train and train. And it was, I mean, I lived here for 8 years before I booked a Broadway show. Cats still is my Broadway credit, and it was a long time before I got there. And I was so lucky and fortunate enough in the meantime to dance for companies and to work in nightlife and to go on tour and to do a lot of things. But I think as soon as I got here, my goals kind of faded away, because it was like jumping into the deep end right away and just seeing if I can swim.
And what I love about your story and reading about it, besides So You Think You Could Dance and television and all the credits and Cirque du Soleil and tours and all this fun stuff, is that creating a piece and telling your story through dance and through music is so different than going into a room full of mirrors and learning choreography. At what point did you create? Being the yes is something we talk a lot about in the show. We wait for people as artists to tell us you're good enough, you booked the job, you did it. You created your own piece, Jakob.
I did. It's something that I absolutely never thought I would do. So yes, I have a show. It's called Ain't Done Bad, opening at the Signature Theater on July 14th. And we're in our 4th year of the life of the show, our 4th iteration, our 4th version. Love the ticket link. And the show was really born out of the deepest, darkest depths of COVID times. And I actually left the city. I stayed here for the first 6 months of our lockdown period. And then I went down to Florida, and I was back in the swamps, and had an opportunity to present work down there. And I like to be as optimistic as possible. But in those days, I was kind of in this mindset of like, well, this is probably it. I mean, I felt like our theater industry was slammed shut so quickly that I was just kind of becoming a little bit realistic about it, and I just was like, this might be it. I hope I enjoyed my last thing. And then I got this opportunity to present work at a festival down there, and which was safe, and the airflow was all correct, and the masks were required, and they did do a really good job of making sure it was up to code. And so even then, my mindset was, if this were to be the last thing I ever do, what do I want it to be? And who do I want to do it with? And how do I want it to look and feel? And so I ended up creating a really intimate piece based on texting my best friends and saying, do you want to build this show with me? And I went to apply for the Orlando Fringe Festival and realized as soon as I started the application that you have a deadline. You have to, within a certain amount of time, you have to completely submit your full show. And I didn't have a show. And so I kind of sat back with a college rule legal pad, and I wrote out this story that had been kind of developing in my brain for a couple of months prior to it, using all of Orville Peck's music. And his music in and of itself is so theatrical. It's so beautiful. It's so storied. It's so emotional. And through his lyrics, elements of my life, I was able to kind of weave this tale and then build the show from there.
It is so fast. I'm obsessed. I can't wait to come down and see it. Firstly, I love the Signature. Everyone should love to see a show at the Signature. I wanted to say to you, it must feel surreal to be there and to have a show go from the Fringe Festival to now being in New York to opening in one of the most esteemed off-Broadway venues in New York City with a show about your life and dance set to this music. What is the show? Is it your true story? Is it a story about family? Is it a coming out story? Is it all of the above? What is it?
I'm so happy you asked. So the show really, it follows elements of my childhood, my upbringing, and in terms of family structure. I had a brother and I had 2 parents, so we followed that. It's certainly not an autobiographical tale directly. I say that it's kind of like a physical manifestation of my childhood fears, the things that I was most afraid of, the things that felt most intense to me as a kid. I was never afraid of like plane crashes and lightning strikes and shark attacks. I was afraid of being made fun of. I was
Sure.
afraid of being beat up on the playground. And even with support and love around you, those fears don't go away. So I had a great family structure. My parents were super supportive, but it didn't mean that I wasn't afraid of them. It didn't mean that I wasn't afraid of my teachers at school. I also went to a super, super crazy conservative Baptist school that like, I don't know how they didn't kick me out as a little gay 12-year-old. My fear was very, very heavy in school. And so it really was born out of that element of my life. And, people I had dated early on after I had come out who didn't have a warm reception from their family, I was able to kind of, with the permission, pull elements of that into the show and tell a story that is so relatable to so many people. And on both ends of the spectrum, there are so many parents who are grappling with trying to understand their kids. And there are so many kids who were like, they're never going to get me. I'm never going to get them. And I feel like if there's a world where we can all just kind of come together and understand that we don't understand each other, just like a common acceptance of misunderstanding, I think is powerful. And I think that that element kind of exists at the core of this show. It certainly follows a coming out story. It certainly follows one person's journey from home, needing to get out of there, getting out of there, finding lust, finding their body, finding their voice. We have, there's a bit of a sexy element to it. And then really finding love. Ultimately self-love and self-acceptance and a realization that like you're good, you're really okay. Is kind of where we land in the show.
Ooh, I just paid a whole bunch of money to my therapist to say those words. So we could have just come see your show, Jacob.
This is what I've been saying. Dance is storytelling.
I really love the idea the producers say this is not a dance only piece. This is not just a theatrical piece. This is not just a story. It is really all encompassing journey. It is, and a lot of dance has gotten a lot of attention this year on Broadway, and with if it's Illinois or if it's off Broadway or whatever, with the storytelling of dance. Because I think that sometimes we still think dance is Broadway theater dance, but to tell a story, to set to this music, how do you describe the developmental process to this day? How has it changed and tinkered? And who are the people that you work with to get this told every single night on stage?
Yeah. I mean, I totally feel you. One of my producers, Patty Maurer of Blue Topaz, she refers to dance as stage parsley all the time, about how dance shouldn't just be stage parsley. It's so funny. And you know what we're talking about. And it's like, how many times have you seen a dancer run on with a lamppost and then they place it and then they spin and they run off stage? I'm like, this is not what we're doing. Dance is so much more powerful. And so in a season where something like Illinois is being so well received and so uplifted and so seen, it's so incredible that dance is being received and honored as a storytelling vehicle, because it really is. It really can be. It just has to be given the chance, right? Um, so in that, the show, as I said, is in its fourth iteration, and I have 3 cast members. With me, it's 4 that have been involved in every production. They've been here the whole time, and they have really been instrumental in developing the arc of the show and holding on to their characters and watching their characters grow. It's doing the show with them on stage every night is extremely emotional for me, because they're my best friends and they've developed their own life and their own voice through this show. Um, the story has changed over the years. To be honest, Orville's released new music every year that we've done the show. And so we've been able to kind of go and find new elements, find new songs, work with the record labels to make sure everything is incorporated, correctly. And so the story has kind of ebbed and flowed. I can say the title of the show, Ain't Done Bad, is from a piece of music that was in the original version of the show and then never came back after the first year. But that phrase to me is so encompassing of what the show is. And I can tell you, Orville has a cover of Fancy made famous by Reba McEntire. And one of the final lyrics she says is, I got me a Georgia mansion in an elegant New York townhouse flat, and I ain't done bad. And that's where the phrase came from. And to me, it encompasses that tone, that says like, you're good, we're okay, we're going to make it, we're going to be fine. And so even when I lost that song and moved on from it, the title, it stayed and it will always stay. It's too powerful of a statement for me to get rid of it.
You just answered a question I have for you, which was, I read in the press release in your bio about Fancy and Reba and all of this. And then as the early iteration of the show, the song was in it. Ain't done bad. Now you know the trick. Now you know where it comes from. What is Orville? How do you make that work? Like, did you know him? Did you reach out? Do your lawyers have to talk to lawyers? Like, how complicated does it get to create art with other people's music?
Kind of all of the above. It's the first time we did the show at Orlando Fringe Festival. They hold a BMI, so you're kind of able to do anything. And I never planned on the show ever happening again, to be quite frank. I thought I would just make it for this festival, and then we would high five at the end and have a little cheers and we'd be done. But since then, it's been picked up and produced each time. And so right away, we started the licensing process. And the first version of it took about a year to get everything honestly just responded to. And then to get everything nailed away and discover the rates and how much it was all going to cost. And it's all really interesting. It's all things that I never would have considered. I've learned a lot about that. And then once the relationship was established between all the different labels, Now, anytime we want to add or adjust anything, it happens much quicker. We just say like, hey, we want to do this. And of course, we accrue a different rate and all those things. But it's really interesting and it's great. I mean, the artists are so protected by their labels. And that is something that I want everyone to know is that like, if you want to make a show using someone's music, it's not impossible. You know, it takes a lot of steps and a lot of time, but it's doable. And I think more often than not, the artists are thrilled to hear it and to know that it's happening. He is on tour with me, so we've been in slight communication about whether or not he's going to be able to jump in for a show, but that's kind of up in the air currently.
That's just the idea that it happens is a miracle and is amazing that it's up on his feet in New York City. So I can only imagine how flattering it must be as an artist that your music moves someone so much that they literally create an entire show and tell a life and story and journey through the music is beautiful. And the same, vice versa. People use your work, Jakob's work, and to feel and be moved and be inspired. What's the audience? Is this for everyone? Who's supposed to come see this show, Jakob?
Everyone, please, and then bring everyone you've ever met. I think, you know, it certainly follows the story of very specifically a young gay man and his experience, but it's for moms, it's for siblings, it's for friends, it's for fathers, it's for lovers, it's for brothers, it's for parents, it's for children. It's, well, not exactly for children, but yeah, it's, you know, it's sexy too. I think come on a date, come get a nice little cocktail and come cozy up and watch someone's turmoil turn into love. I think it's something that we all can feel, and I think it feels good to feel that through someone else sometimes. And I'm more than happy to be that body that helps somebody come to some terms with themselves. Yeah, it's an emotional piece, and we're going through it on stage. We really are. And by the time we round out towards the end, it feels so good to hug each other afterwards and then go out and hug the people that came to see us. And yeah, it's a really emotional but uplifting and electrifying piece, I feel.
Well, you sold me. I'm gonna have to get my husband, and we're gonna have to go to date night out and about. Oh, let me tell you, you want to see messy dancing, early, young, coming of age, queer stories, dating. Oh my goodness, I'm sure there's lots of fun, interesting, insightful, heartwarming, loving, difficult moments, all encompassing together in the show.
Yes, and I gotta just plug this right now. This cast is unfreaking believable. It is like look up any one of the people listed in our cast list and you'll lose your mind. It's a company of dancers that I really have never been in this hot of a ball of fire of talent in any job I've ever done in my life. And it's blowing me away every day. I go home from rehearsal and I watch our run through videos and I'm just like weeping on my couch because of this talent and how hard they're working and how committed they already are. We're only on our second week of rehearsal and they're already committed to the characters. And that to me is really, again, just another example of how dance can be so much more powerful than people might know. And if I can be part of this bridge between dance and theater that the same audience needs to get over, then that is really my ultimate goal here is you know, making a dance piece for a theater audience is what I'm hoping to do here.
Well, we need to follow you. You can follow Jakob on Instagram. I spelled Jakob wrong in the one piece, but we're going to fix it. It will look right on the when this is all said and done. If you want to follow, if you want to follow Jakob on Instagram, you can follow him at Jakob Karr. That's JAKOBKARR. So the K's, everybody, put the K's in the name, and we could follow you, and we could stay up to speed and up to date. And you know, Jakob, there are lots of artists, there's lots of dancers, there's lots of theater makers. There are very few who get to have the opportunity to do it in New York City. Very few off Broadway, Broadway. I hope you can cherish and know it takes a lot of guts and a lot of chutzpah and a lot of work. And congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm feeling that, and I'm happy to say that I'm more excited than anything. I'm more thrilled than I am scared, and I think that whether that's me being delusional or going in blind, great, I'll do it. I'm happy to just present dancers and dance work to the city.
That's what I love. Like, I wanted to ask you, like, are you scared? Are you excited? And what is there to be scared of? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's if art is subjective, people are going to like everything or not like anything, and that's not my problem. That's not our
No.
issue. We're going to go out there, we're going to dance our asses off, and we're going to have the time of our life every single time we hit the stage, and hope that someone in the audience feels something from what we're doing.
Oh,
That's it.
and
That's all we
they,
need.
they will. Jake, if you've seen him on television, if you've seen him on the road, if you've seen him on social media posts and all the dance, come see it live and in person his show. AintDoneBad.com. Get your tickets. How long are you there? You're there till
August 31st.
August 31st. He is setting up residency around 42nd Street. So get yourself over there. Let's go.
Yes. Thank you
Jake,
so much.
Jacob, congratulations. I look forward to seeing the show, and I'm excited to see where this goes and how it and what's next. We're ready.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. Can't wait to see you at the show.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.